Hello and welcome to an Elspec hardware training series. Hopefully you have been watching our programming series on software, but now we're going to talk about our hardware a little bit. This is the Pure BB. Okay, this is our newest handheld, 256 samples per cycle, continuous waveform recording. All right, so as it comes, you get LEDs on the front. These are your phase rotation LEDs. So when you hook it up, there's no connections. You don't have to program any type of sag levels, or you don't have to program any type of uh, swell levels, anything like that. It's all going to be done with the software afterwards, so you can program and set up whatever you want. It's really designed for anybody to take out and hook up, even if they know nothing about power quality. As long as they can hook up a meter, they can use this device. Okay, so these will tell you if you're phased correctly. You want green, 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 green. If you end up with reds or yellows down here, you've got a phase swapped, or you've got a CT backwards, or you have a CT backwards and a phase swapped. So you just need to look at them and figure out what phase is wrong. Okay? So that's this part. Right here, you've got a power and a USB. These will be green if you got power and if you're plugged into the PC through this port, standard USB printer cable. Over here, we've got the SD card right in here. Okay, you can pull that in or out to transfer data off of it to update firmware, and we'll go into that in a little bit. Up here, you have your voltages, standard banana, and your current, standard B and C. And you'll notice they're also color-coded: black, red, blue, white, green. Okay, that's to help you when you're phasing. What I always like to do is I like to put a little bit of tape around the end of my banana jacks at both ends. That way, when I'm in the switchgear, I can see, okay, I've got black in my hand, and I know I put black in here. Okay, voltage connections are done. You got alligator on one side, banana on the other. Plugs right in. Current. The spin connects. CTs, they have a little arrow on them. You want to point your arrow to load. Okay. And when you get up here, you get your choice of the little mini clamps or the Rogowski coils that come with it. So you can pick and choose whatever you want that best suits what your situation. Okay. And so this is basically the Pure itself. When you purchase the Pure, you have the option to get an extension module. Okay. To use it, here at the bottom, there's this clip. There's two little clips. You basically pry these in. This pops off. Okay. And here on the back, make sure you've got this open. If not, you can pull in and pop the piece out that's up in here. You take it, extension module, this goes in this slot. And it slides till it clicks. Okay? To remove it, thumb buttons on both sides. Okay? Right here, you have a switch. Okay? Right now it's off. No lights. I turn it on. It starts powering up, and it's going to be ready to start recording here in a minute. These LEDs at the bottom, power, charging, battery low. I haven't charged it in a while. So I'm going to go ahead and plug it in. And we'll see this one turn on here in a second. Okay, so now it's charging. All right. So what the extension module does is it gives you 8 hours of battery, roughly 8 hours, 6 to 8 hours of battery. But also gives you, go ahead and unplug it, turn it back off. A USB port and an Ethernet port. USB, we've got a little Wi-Fi dongle here. Snaps in. And that's how we're going to connect with the apps. Ethernet is how you're going to get it onto a network. So you can plug it in, and the HTTP server, you'll get a good network connection. You'll be able to log into it, FTP to it, Sapphire to it, whatever you need to do. Okay. This will also support 3G, and also you can pull data off here with a USB drive. So that is basically the hardware side of the Pure. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and walk you through how to use the app. We have an app on the Android and the iPhone, and they're both used for turning on the PQ-Zip recordings and looking at your data to make sure that the data looks good and you've got good data. Okay. After I go through how to turn the PQ-Zip recording on, I'm going to go through how to retrieve data. There's a couple of ways we can do that. So I'll go ahead and walk you through both of those, and then time syncing. Okay. You can time sync with the app, you can time sync with Sapphire, and you can time sync with a little desktop app as well. Thank you very much. And I'm going to go ahead and move on and switch screens and go to the app screen. Okay. Okay, now we're going to go over the app, and it's called Sapphire. We have a version for Apple and for Android. And the reason for the app is twofold. One is the main reason is to verify that you're getting good data after you do a setup in the field. You connect to it via Wi-Fi in the field, and once you verify it, then you can make sure that you've got your right voltages, currents, everything looks good, and then you can also go and start and stop your PQ-Zip recording, and you can also time sync if you wish to. So to connect to it in the field, and I'm not going to go through the whole process because I am on my network here at home, is you swipe down, you go to Connections, Wi-Fi, and where it says Pure 00006035, okay, that is the serial number of the Pure you're wanting to connect to. If you're in range of several of them, make sure you connect to the right one. At this point, you would just click on it, and it will connect to the Pure via Wi-Fi. Now, I'm not going to do that because for me to screen share, I have to be on the same Wi-Fi as my computer. So anyway, that's how you would connect to it via Wi-Fi. Once you are connected via Wi-Fi, you go to Sapphire, and at the very top, it should have available devices, and it's looking right now, and it has found one. The IP number is going to change based on your connection to it, okay? So once you found it, you click on it, and it will pull up your Pure. At this point, you're going to have the options to see what voltages, frequencies, currents, THD, power, everything that your Pure is recording. This one's not actually recording anything right now. It's sitting here on my desk. But you would go over here to Settings, which is the little gear, and that turns your PQ-Zip recording on or off. Once you do that, be sure at the bottom where the little check mark is that you check the orange check mark and to save it. Okay, that'll save your configurations. All right, and also if you look down, you've got 3-second calculations, a serial number, version, protocol, and time sync. So if I click time sync, it gives you the options of how you want to sync it. Sync it to itself, auto sync, NTP1 or NTP2. And then you would press sync, and it will sync the time up to it. But just to show you what data actually looks like from a device in the field, what you can see on here, I'm going to go ahead and do this real quick. You actually have real data here, voltages, currents. If you touch your phasor at the top, it shows you your phasors. Your THD, you can remove the fundamental to get a better glimpse of your harmonics. And waveforms. This is real-time waveform data from your device in the field. So now that you've got your Pure in the field and you've time synced it and you've turned your PQ zip recording on, we're going to show you how next to get some data from it. And then we'll finish up with updating a firmware update and time syncing in a different manner as well. All right, now we're going to look at some ways to get data off the device. The first and most direct way is just to FTP it off. So we have this desktop app called Device Search. If you double click on it, you can download this from the website. It will tell you all the names of all the Pures on your network. Okay, gives you the IP address, the FTP link, all the information you need, and it tells you over here what it is, a Pure 3-phase. If you have multiple ones, you do need to make sure which one you're looking for by the serial number. Okay, so I've got my IP address. I'm going to launch FileZilla, which is my FTP of choice. Put in the IP address, and now for the Pure, the FTP username is user0, and the password is little a, big A, 123 123. Alright, so once you get into it, we're going to go for the PQZ folder, PQZDA, which is PQZip data. And here's your folder. Breaks it down by days, months. And here's your files. For expediency style, I'm just going to click on one. Download. And it's going to download and put it over here in my desktop. Okay? So that's one way of doing it, is using the FTP. Now I'm going to go ahead and disconnect from this. Another option is to use Sapphire. So if you have the enterprise version of Sapphire, you can set this up to automatically download. So we're going to go in here and add a component. We're going to select it as a Pure polyphase. Put in the IP address. We'll call it Training Pure, and finish. Okay, so now you can see here it's waiting for data, and so once it starts seeing the data is there, it will start downloading the data to the database, allowing you to start doing your investigations immediately. The other cool thing about having Sapphire on here, you can go to Unit Configuration. And here is your time sync. This is in my opinion, this is the best way to sync to your product. Okay, you go here and you click Source, Self, GPS, SNTP 1 or 2, or Auto. Sync with OS, so that's going to synchronize the Pure with the desktop laptop you're on. Operation succeeded. So now the Pure is synced to my laptop. Okay, if I want to sync it to SNTP 1 or 2, I could put these in here as well. Okay, now the other method of retrieving data is to directly pull the SD card into your laptop. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so the way that we can look at doing this is there's two ways to pull data from the SD card. One is you can just plug the Pure directly into your computer with the USB cable, the one I showed you earlier. And second is you can pull the SD card out of the Pure and plug it to your computer. That's what I've done. So if you go over here to your Windows Explorer, you should see pure black box drive, whatever your drive happens to label it. Okay, this is going to look the same regardless of which way you do it, so it doesn't really matter. Here's your PQ zip data folder. Double click on it. Here's your data. Just take your data, put it wherever you want to on your PC. Just copy and paste it, cut it, paste it, whatever you decide to do. And then from that point, you can import it to Sapphire. If you have questions with that, you can go check out our training videos that go through the complete setup of Sapphire, including how to use to transfer data, to do reports, and everything. So I'd really encourage you to get familiar with the software. And finally, we're going to look at two more things. One is firmware update, and two is using the desktop app to sync your data to time sync to your Pure. Okay, so for the firmware update, you would download an image file from our website, copy it, go back to the root, and paste it. Okay? Once you've pasted it on the SD card, you plug it back into your Pure, and it'll go through the firmware update. It can take upwards of 2 to 7 minutes or so to do the update, depending on how big the firmware is. But once it's done, it'll turn all the lights green for you again. Your hard drive, your power light will be green, and you'll be getting ready to start taking data again or shutting it down for the evening. And so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to connect our USB cable to the Pure's USB port, plug it into our PC, and then we're going to go up here to our desktop, and we're going to launch the Pure TimeSync app. So when it launches, the first thing it does is it looks for a Pure. The Pure has to be physically connected to your computer. It can't be networked. It has to be physically connected. Sometimes you'll get all sorts of weird little pop-ups and everything going on. And then you'll get your connected signal. You sync. Synchronizing. And once it's done, you'll get a little message down here. Pure time was set successfully. Okay? So now your Pure is connected to sync to your computer as well. Alright, so today we've covered the hardware aspect of the Pure, how to sync the Pure to your app, to use your PQ zip recording to turn on and off the data, how to use the app to verify that you have good data coming in, how to get your data off the Pure via FTP and via Sapphire, and also by directly removing the SD card. We've gone over how to update your firmware and how to time sync multiple ways. Thank you for watching. Be sure to follow us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, and connect with us on LinkedIn. Have a great day.